On June 18, OceanGate's Titan lost communication with the surface, sparking an international media frenzy as search and rescue teams raced to find and save its 5 passengers before their oxygen ran out. It was ultimately discovered that the sub had imploded, which led to significant condemnation of both the Titan's unconventional and uncertified construction and of the concept of taking visitors at a cost of $250,000 per person 12,500 feet down to the RMS Titanic's wreckage. How will the tragedy affect the personal submersible industry is one of 2 unanswered concerns months after the catastrophe. And what kind of laws will be enacted as a result? There are about 100 of these submersibles in service right now, with prices ranging from U-Boat Worx's $500,000 Nemo to deep diving specialist subs costing tens of millions of dollars, with users including UHNW explorers, oceanographers, and super-yacht owners. Despite the Titan tragedy, individuals in the know claim that interest levels have stayed the same, and in some cases even increased, despite the fact that there is no apparent explanation for why this is the case. According to U-Boat Worx's commercial director Eric Hasselman, there haven't been any cancellations for either the sub-sales or the tourist dives we offer in Curacao. Even some charter service providers report an increase in inquiries. According to the head of one company who asked to remain anonymous, after Titan, we received calls asking about doing a submarine trip on its own rather than just as an add-on to the end of a charter that's very rare. I suppose the news coverage piqued interest. According to Patrick Leahy, CEO and co-founder of Triton Submarines, influential individuals have contacted him to discuss the build of deep diving submersibles, purely to counteract any negative impact recent events could have. He also predicts that, despite the incident's extensive media coverage, the legacy will be further investment in deep ocean submersibles, not less. That's what they would say, of course. It's possible that the business is only circling its wagons, and the talk of a post-Titan revival is all it is. Victor Vescovo, who safely descended 35,853 feet in his sub DSSV limiting factor to the bottom of the Mariana Trench, the deepest point on Earth, says it's important to remember that in 40 years there hasn't been a significant injury, let alone a death, on a commercial submersible. That argument is now obviously tone-deaf and obsolete thanks to Titan. In an effort to determine what transpired and whether OceanGate engaged in any misconduct, incompetence, negligence, unskillfulness, or willful violation of law, the US Coast Guard's Marine Board, along with authorities from the UK, France, and Canada, are conducting an investigation. Many insiders also ponder whether stricter criteria will eventually be adopted. As of right now, U-Boat Worx and Triton construct their submersibles in accordance with the sector-leading DNV certification, which includes standards on pressure testing, metal thickness, and welding, as well as specifications for redundancy in food, air, and safety measures. The owner of Allen Exploration, which has a Triton sub in its fleet, Carl Allen, claims that OceanGate bypassed US rules by going to Canada. I'm not a big fan of regulations, but I do think there needs to be some action, and I think hull integrity will be a major issue moving forward, he added. Policy and law enforcement will be the actual problem. William Conan, chairman of the Marine Technology Society's Committee on Manned Submersibles, asserts that in terms of rules, we know how to make subs safe. The problem then becomes how to get other nations to accept the same protocols. We need to meet down with the Coast Guard, who has authority, and say, we have all these nice standards, let's see how to enforce them. At the United Nations level, Conan predicts there will be a discussion. When it comes to future action, Forrest Booth, an attorney with San Francisco-based Kennedy's Law, is equally pessimistic. I do not think much of substance will happen after the media attention of this event dies. Forrest Booth identified mineral rights as a likely sticking point, telling the Associated Press that strict regulations will be resisted by some countries that want to do deep-sea mining. The disastrous implosion that occurred in June, however, has little chance of being forgotten in the small-town submersible society. I haven't been on a submarine since OceanGate, adds Allen, but I will, and when I close that hatch, I'll be thinking of the people that were on Titan. Meanwhile, the co-founder of OceanGate believes that we should continue to push the boundaries of innovation and aims to deploy 1,000 people to a floating colony on Venus by 2050. Following the Titan submarine catastrophe, Guillermo Sandline has been unpredictably catapulted into the spotlight. Aside from OceanGate, Sandline has other businesses. The businessman's most recent and conceivably most ambitious project is to bring 1,000 people to dwell in Venus' atmosphere by 2050. Sandline believes that humanity has to keep pushing the boundaries of creativity and hasn't let the recent events dim his drive. He asserts that his strategy is not as absurd as it would appear. In a report, he said, "I think it is less idealistic than deploying 1 million people on the Martian surface by 2050. Despite being referred to as Earth's twin, Venus doesn't seem like the best place for humanity to flourish." Sandline himself agrees. "You're absolutely correct that when you talk about going to Venus, it would raise eyebrows outside of the space industry, and it even does so inside of the space industry," he added. In the solar system, Venus is the planet with the highest average surface temperature. Carbon dioxide is abundant in its atmosphere, its surface temperature could melt lead, and sulfuric acid is rained down from its clouds. According to NASA, it has a crushing atmosphere with a pressure that is more than 90 times that of Earth. Despite this, Sandline does not see a reason why humans shouldn't try to survive on the planet. He cites studies that claim there is a patch of the Venusian atmosphere about 30 miles from the surface where humans could perhaps survive since temperatures are lower and pressure is lower. Sandline claims that hundreds to thousands of people could one day live in the Venusian atmosphere if a space station could be built to survive the sulfuric acid in the clouds. By 2050, he claims a floating colony might house 1,000 people in Venus' atmosphere, but it's unclear exactly how that will happen. Although a company that makes submersibles and an endeavor that is aiming for Venus may not appear similar, they are both a part of a larger strategy for Sandline. The businessman gathers businesses that will help him achieve his ultimate goal, which is to push humanity beyond its predetermined limits on Earth. "Since I was 11 years old, I believe I've been motivated to contribute to making humanity a multi-planet species," he stated. He remarked, "I had this recurring dream of being the commander of the first Martian colony." OceanGate was hardly an exception. Using crewed submersibles, in particular, was what Sandline and Rush both saw as the closest thing that we could do to go into space and further that vision without actually going into space, according to Sandline. The long-term goal of OceanGate was to build affordable crewed submersibles that could be rented out for trips to the ocean's depths. The technologies that are discovered on the route to achieving this goal will probably be helpful in assisting human spaceflight. This is a strategy that is frequently applied. For instance, SpaceX wanted to send 1 million people to Mars. Along the way, it created reusable rockets, Starlink, and its Starship mega rockets. Similar to this, Sandline's venture studio, Humans to Venus, which he co-founded with businessman Khaled Al-Early, will devise innovative business ideas and start-up concepts to get beyond financial obstacles to sending people to Venus. They'll work to create methods to lower launch operations costs and fund space missions independently, according to Sandline, along the way. But for Sandline, the idea of 1,000 people residing in Venus clouds goes beyond mere inspiration. Although it is ambitious, he added, he believes it will be extremely possible by 2050. Sandline stated that people shouldn't stop researching carbon fiber-hulled submersibles as a means of reaching the ocean's bottom despite the Titan's passengers' fatalities. Despite the Titan catastrophe, he thinks that humanity must continue to push the boundaries of invention. Having said that, what do you think of the founder and the co-founder of OceanGate? Share your thoughts in the comment box below. Please subscribe to Weather Collapse if you want to know more and be updated on the latest news about natural calamities or disasters happening all over the world, and don't forget to like today's video. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.